There's 5 million people in Atlanta who aren't fully aware where their water comes from. This is your drinking water, the Chattahoochee. Everybody should protect it. As our volunteers have grown, people who have never been on these cleanups typically come back again and again because it's so meaningful.
Welcome to Ecophonia. If saving the planet sounds a little bit daunting, it is. I feel that way too. So I'm talking to experts across industries and across the country to get to the root of how change is really made so that you can learn ways to make the world a better place. I'm here to investigate what really makes the biggest impact and to connect you with real people who already have their feet on the ground. Today, I connected with Tammy Bates, the Outings Director of Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, an organization that helps educate, investigate, and advocate for the Chattahoochee River. This river helps define the Alabama-Georgia border, is the most heavily used water resource in Georgia, and is a place I would frequently visit as a teenager, as I grew up about 15 minutes from the river. Chattahoochee Riverkeeper does so many cool things, but this episode will primarily focus on trash cleanups and keeping the Chattahoochee trash-free. For this episode, I participated in one of those said trash cleanups at Hollywood Cemetery in Atlanta, Georgia. Together with the other volunteers, we removed 1,380 pounds of trash and tires out of the river. Now, I've been participating in trash cleanups since 2018, and you pull out a lot of weird things out of the environment, but I now have a new weirdest object. And that is this old creepy doll head. If you're listening audio only, I recommend going to YouTube or Spotify to see what I'm talking about, or don't because it's a little bit freaky. Anyway, to kick off this episode, I asked Tammy what she does and how she got started.
My name's Tammy Bates. I'm the Outings Director for Chattahoochee Riverkeeper. This will be my 18th year with the organization. Originally started as their events and outreach manager, and it wasn't too long when I started doing volunteer projects how much trash there was. So that really, we had always picked up trash prior to my involvement, but not to this level. So it's been my primary focus to really tackle all the in-town tributaries, really the entire watershed. And so it's just been overwhelming, the amount. And for how long, out of the 18 years, probably 16 have been really hardcore trash cleanups. And this is part of our Trash-Free Chattahoochee initiative. And then I will say Sweep the Hooch started this was our 15th Sweep the Hooch. And 16 and a half years ago, I was paddling with a park ranger within the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area and another guy from Trout Unlimited. And we just kind of started talking, brainstorming, an event like Sweep. And within the year, it began. It was only 18 sites the first year, and fast forward all these years, we're up to 64 sites spread over 200 river miles. So it has become one incredible day of service.
Awesome. So I guess you touched on it, but can you just explain what Sweep the Hooch is?
Sweep the Hooch is one day where volunteers go to one of their chosen sites. So there's 16 individual cleanup sites this year, and it grows every year. And so they register to volunteer on this one day from 9 to 12, and that's when we, accumulate the amount of trash. This year, we set a record, 1,500 volunteers and 41 tons of trash. It was a beautiful day. Broke another record, which is not good news, and we got 369 tires out. So obviously, just tires and then illegal dumping of tires and trash is a real big problem.
Can you talk about why tires in particular are a challenge?
Disposing of them has become a challenge. Any of the counties and parks that we partner with on these cleanups, they're faced with the same challenge. Bridgestone used to have a Tires Forward program where you could take them to a Firestone dealership, and they canceled that program. So people don't want to pay to recycle them. So the easiest thing to do, I guess, is to dump it in a creek. So we find them where people have just dumped them off the bridges, wherever. So it's finding somebody to recycle them. And I will give a big shout out to Smyrna Tire and Charm, Center for Hard to Recycle Materials, because they will take our tires for us. Otherwise, it's pretty expensive to take them to a recycler.
That's awesome. So Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, on their website, the sort of like 3 pillars are like educate, investigate, and advocate. Why are those the 3 things that you guys kind of strive for as an organization?
Well, Chattahoochee Riverkeeper is part of a bigger umbrella organization called the Waterkeeper Alliance. So they are the organization over all the keepers worldwide. There's over 300 keepers. That's bay keeper, ocean keeper, sound keeper, and there's 6 other river keepers in Georgia. Our focus is protecting the Chattahoochee watershed. So that's through policy work, legislative work, and legal action when necessary. That's actually how Riverkeeper got started. Was we sued the city of Atlanta 30 years ago to force them to update the sewer systems. And that's when the sewer mayor, Shirley Franklin, got involved. And fast forward all those 30 years, we're having to sue them again because of the R.M. Clayton plant, which is what started that as well. It's too bad that, we have to legally force somebody to do the right thing. We have staff attorneys, we have policy directors, everybody that's focused. I believe we have 18 staff now, and everybody's pretty central in, wearing many hats for all the programs that we have.
So I guess almost talking about the river a little bit, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen when you're doing river cleanups?
Really, there's not too much. If I haven't been to a site in a while, I'll go check it out myself, just to hike, just to make sure there's no surprises. But for the most part, I consistently go back to probably 24 cleanup sites, because as we have these massive rain events, all the trash shifts around. And so I know I can go back to this location. I know we'll have a lot of rain, and I could probably be out here again in a month. Sadly, all the work we did today will be undone by the next rain event, but it's safe access. It has parking, as a place for a dumpster, so we can keep coming back here over and over again. And it just keeps collecting, from further upstream. So anything we can do to keep it out of the river, that's our choice.
Which outings do you think have had the most, the biggest impact on either the river or on the participants?
Probably Sweep the Hooch, because it is just such an enormous day of everybody participating and volunteering. People who have never been on these cleanups typically come back again and again because it's so meaningful. There's a tangible difference. You're seeing what we accomplished.
Do you have any stories of, volunteers that you've maybe met over the years who keep coming back because they love doing it so much?
Yes, they. As long as I've been doing it, we have volunteers that have been with me all these years. And I will say, I track the metrics, and I can share that with you. I started collecting the metrics in 2010, and each and every year there's just been growth. Even during 2020, we slowed for a bit, but then we went right back into cleanups because we're outside.
What's the average amount of trash you bring in per cleanup that you have like this?
It's so random because everything depends on the weather.
Sure.
If we had rain a couple of days ago, we probably wouldn't have been able to host a cleanup. So has it rained recently? If it has rained, the bacteria levels are likely too high, so we would have to reschedule. We don't, safety is the #1 priority on these. We don't want anybody hurt or, in a bad situation like that. And it's no fun to be out here when it's raining. Last year, we had quite a few more events canceled because of rain. The year before, it was 2 years ago, it was 62 tons. It was only 52 tons last year. And now this year, thanks to Sweep, we're already over 41.
Wow, yeah.
And it's April.
Yeah. Would you consider hosting a second yearly Sweep the Hooch, or is there a reason there's only once a year, or is it just, I imagine it's a lot of logistics that go into it.
It is a lot of logistics that I take on. All of the sites have volunteer team leaders. And so that is asking a lot, to lead it twice in 1 year, because without them, this couldn't happen. Somebody has to step up and say, I will be the team lead and be responsible and safety and all that stuff for these sites. So that's kind of the crux of it. So I have to do everything I can for the team leads in advance so they can, do this.
That makes a lot of sense. You guys also work with, do corporate cleanups and partner with corporations to do cleanups throughout the year. Do you guys also count those tons of trash that they pick up in the total that you guys take out?
Yes.
Awesome.
So Sweep the Hooch, it's, like I said, I've collected the metrics for 2010. Sweep is part of that, but it also lists the other 40 to 50 cleanups throughout the year. So there's one cumulative total.
So Do you find that the work you do kind of inspires other sustainable habits among people who participate? So maybe if they go do a cleanup that they might start, I don't know, recycling in their day-to-day life, or maybe they pick up trash when they go on trails or other things?
It has a definite positive effect. I mean, there's no negative to any of this. It's, a lot of the other keeper organizations have started replicating sweep in their area. So it's anything people can do, just take a bag with you.
Do you guys ever get resistance to cleanups? I don't know, either from people who own properties or just...
Never.
No? Nobody's ever opposed to you cleaning up trash?
Opposed, us coming in and there are, I do if we're on city or county property and it's a park and things like that, I get permission. Because, you don't want a dumpster and a porta potty just show up without, that's not a good surprise. But no, never have I gotten any resistance.
Nobody wants trash in the river.
Right.
What would you tell somebody to, I don't know, try to get them more involved if they're like, I don't know, maybe trash cleanup, that sounds gross, or, they don't want to, I don't know, they don't think it's necessary. What would you say to that person?
Riverkeeper has 10,000 members. And there's 5 million people in Atlanta who aren't fully aware of where their water comes from. This is your drinking water, the Chattahoochee. Everybody should protect it. As our volunteers have grown, there's 10 is our minimum age, but we have all age ranges. We have all just diversity of everybody that wants to come out and help. So it's everybody should at least make an effort.
What are some simple steps that people can take to protect their local waterways?
Keeping it clean, keeping the trash out, making sure, that it's healthy. You should be able to see little fish or crawdads in these tributaries, and we did today. So that's a really great sign. All the wildlife that depends on this, it's not just for us, it's mostly for them.
Is there anything that's like overlooked, you think? I guess you almost talked about this already, but overlooked between the connection between river health and then human health. So if this is our drinking water, we should obviously be caring about that. But are there other connections between our lives and the river's health that people should think about?
Yeah, well, drinking water, yeah. But I mean, recreation, just being out in nature and walking along the river or walking along the creeks, that's very soothing to most people's souls, is to be out here.
Have you found that your perspective has changed as all these years that you've been doing this, as you first started, cleaning up trash, and now you're leading all these cleanups? How have you grown throughout this?
Just seeing the volume of trash, plus the places that we keep going back to, we're not getting the large amounts of trash that we used to. We're still getting trash. But, this is only the second time we've cleaned here at Hollywood Cemetery, and it's still a lot of trash. But some of the other places that are frequent, seeing the difference all these years have made, it allows me to keep doing this. Otherwise, it could be a little heartbreaking.
Have you had any friends that you've had change their mind? Have you been able to get them out here who are like, oh, I don't understand why you should do that, and you get them out here and they've changed their minds?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the first time being out here and seeing what's involved. And, there's not everybody wants to get in the creek. There's generally other things to do to stay on land and help. So it takes a team of volunteers to accomplish all of this and pitching in. So you're coming out here to volunteer and pick up trash, but we're not going to make you, do these things. It's for your enjoyment. For your benefit, you do only what you can do. I mean, because, physically it is pretty labor intensive. So everybody does, do what makes you comfortable, but get out here and do something.
What are some of your future goals for the outings with Chattahoochee Riverkeeper?
Really just keep touching on areas that we've never been to before. I'm constantly looking for new locations that are safe and accessible. So it's hitting a lot of those. There's well over 20 different sites that I go to every year consistently. And I'm trying to spread out and do, find those other locations too.
How do you find the new locations?
Sometimes we'll get calls Other times it's I'll just sit and play on Google Maps and kind of follow a creek just to see where it leads, or if there's a business next to it that'll give us permission, type of thing. So it's researching.
Has there been anything that you've been surprised by, and I guess in recent years?
Not really. I'm not surprised by anything we find in these creeks anymore. Most of it's plastic bottles and cans, but the 30 tires today, car parts. It's just random.
That makes sense. I guess, nothing surprises you anymore, but do you have like a weirdest thing that you've found that sticks out in your mind from your time doing this?
You may have to edit this out, but we're up to our 9th sex toy. Why? I have no idea. But yeah, I was like, okay, I don't know why this is here. I don't want to know why this is here. That's probably the oddest.
Yeah.
It's not a by the numbers you want to announce frequently, but yeah.
Looking ahead, I guess the next 10, 20 years, where do you see sort of the state of your outings? Where do you see Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, the river itself? Where do you see it?
Continuing. It may be under, that's a long time away, 30 years. So I'm sure there'll be changes, but the mission won't change.
Do you see a world where you start finding less trash, hopefully with like maybe policy changes or other efforts, or do you think it's going to kind of continue to be this way?
Why is littering still a problem? This is littering. So I would love for that to end, but reality is that's probably not going to happen, sadly.
Yeah.
All we can do is our part. So my legacy is leave it a little bit cleaner.
Is there anything else you'd kind of like to say, like any calls to actions to people?
Come out and join us. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, people come back. I can only think of very few people that this may not be their thing, but you're outside, you're with other volunteers, you get to know people, and you get to, you're playing in a creek, which is the fun part.
I'd like to thank Tammy for taking the time to speak with me and organizing such great cleanups. If you'd like to connect with Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, their information will be in the description. If you're on YouTube or Spotify, go ahead and drop a comment about what you found most enlightening about this conversation. And if you're on Apple or Spotify, go ahead and rate the show 5 stars because it really helps me out. And I will see all of you guys in the next episode.